friends, this is Bijou Baker. I'm Maria. We're in the kitchen. We're in the kitchen. We're gonna make something yummy. We are. This is a copy that recipe. I got this. This is probably gonna be backwards. I got this on the Better House and Garden magazine, and it's the Lavender Honey Lemon Tart, which is kind of the one that's on front, but I'm gonna put it in actual tart oblong pan, which whatever works for you. Okay. I got these. I love using them. So, and I haven't used them in a real long time. So I'm breaking them out. Look at this. What is this? Let me go fix that. I had to wash my hands too. Someone had asked me what's my absolutely one rule in the kitchen. When I'm in the kitchen, whether I'm baking or cooking, hair goes up, hands get washed. That's it. Even people who come in to bake with me, they've learned that one. So, okay, so back to this. I'm going to copy exactly as they said to do it, because when you're trying something for the first time, you should. And then the second time, you make your adjustments according to what your flavors are in your family. And I'm going to be using lavender. Okay, so I got, let me show you this whole box because it's kind of cool. On Amazon, they have this box of botanical bulk flower kit. Okay, and in there is a bunch of flowers, and they're all edible. They're all food grade. That's not to say that you can't go out to your garden and, you know, get those. Okay, you're not supposed to. If you know me, you know I don't pay attention to supposed to. If I had a rose garden or a lavender garden, which you know by now I don't, I'd use them. Sorry, I don't have any grand explanation behind that, just like, why not? I have them. So I'm not telling you to use them, but I'm not telling you you don't have to. You know, you can't. I don't like the word can't. So, lavender, probably one of my most favorite smells. It just brings me such serenity. Now, when you're working with lavender, there's a real fine line between flavor and soap. You don't want to cross that line. They're asking for 3 tablespoons of lavender. Yeah, that sounds a lot to me. I don't want it. I don't want soap. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because it said. So there you go with that. And again, you can get that online. You could probably find it at some specialty stores. When I make my herb de Provence, I use that. And I think the first time I did get it at I think they got it at a Mexican market or an Asian market, something unexpected. So, okay, so anyways, there's that. I have everything ready. There are 3 steps to this. The honey lavender is quite literally honey and lavender. And you kind of boil the honey with the lavender and then let it sit for like 20 minutes. I should have done this overnight because I always believe the longer something sets, if they say 10 minutes, I'm going to give it 20, you know. So I'm going to do that first because I need it to cool. So let's go do that part first. All right, I'm going to, before I take it to the pan, I'm just going to put everything in there. Before I take it to the stove, so I will put the recipe below, but you also have access to it if you want to just go buy the whole magazine. And there's some good stuff in there. And then the lavender. All right, let's go take this to the oven. Okay, so it says to let it come to a high simmer for 5 minutes. I'm going to disagree. I think that's a little too much. So I'm going to just keep it at a low simmer for 20 minutes. So the directions say 5 minutes on a high simmer, lower it, and then simmer it for 15 minutes on low. Look what's happening. It's not even 5 minutes. That's too much heat. So I'm going to adjust that. I am going to adjust that. regardless of what the recipe says. So I have it on low. It's still too hot with this electric burner. It's still too hot to put it back down. But once it kind of cools off, then I'll keep it on simmer and continue to stir it for, well, 15 minutes now because it's been about 5. So I probably should have done this in a deeper pot, but so what's happening is once it gets really good and going, it just really doubles in size. Burnt honey is not something you want in your nostrils. It will not go away for a long time. So what I'm doing is I'm just monitoring it. It's calmed down a lot, but when it would get too voluminous, then I would take it off and just kind of take it off the heat and just keep stirring it until it's calmed down, and then continue to follow the rest of the time. And my hands are being used, so I can't turn off the camera. All right, here we go. That's good. I'll tell you what, I'm a little nervous about the quantity of lavender I used. I'm going to trust her or him. I didn't even mention the chef who made this, did I? So this froth will calm down. You can see it's much lower, so I've got controlled heat. So after this, maybe 2 more minutes, I'm going to strain it to get all the seeds out. And then it has to cool completely before we use it. If you've ever had honey lavender ice cream, oh, you're going to love this flavor then. Okay, so now we're just going to strain it. To get all these little seed pods out. And then let it cool. It's nice and thin. I'm assuming it's going to get thicker. I guess we'll find out. Now, ordinarily, I would scrape the bottom of this, but this is kind of dirty, and I just don't want to bring anything to the game. All right, and so it sits. Okay, I do want to say that I kind of rushed this step. I was supposed to let the honey in this lavender steep, which of course I knew that, but I took it out because I just didn't want that much lavender. I tasted it and it's good, like this. I think steeping it, I know. I'm the worst person ever to follow directions exactly. Well, we'll see. Okay, on to the crust. Okay, so I'm going to take a cup of sugar, and I think it's a cup of flour, and about a 1/4 cup of powdered sugar, and the butter. And that's all there is to this recipe. I kind of like the powdered sugar in it because it's going to give it, you're not going to get the granules, which sometimes they're perfect, sometimes they're not. And a 1/2 cup of butter, and then just mix it until a dough forms. This is like a super easy crust if this works. Oh, and by the way, the author of this recipe is Vallery Lomas. Vallery Lomas. This looks kind of wet. So thank you, Vallery, for your work. Okay, I can see this working then. It's not when you roll out. You're just going to quite literally put it in the pan and mush it down. Okay, that one's easy. I keep the recipe book handy just because I don't know this recipe. So in it goes, and it doesn't say anything about lining the sheet, so I'm not gonna. And just evenly spread it out. Doesn't look like it's enough, huh? But it's got to be kind of thin, you know. All right, let me work on this and I'll fast forward it for you. Okay, that took a lot of work. It was much easier when I got my hands in there, as I should have known. I think I would have made a little bit more. I'd probably add a quarter cup more flour, because I don't want a lot more. So I would probably add a quarter cup more flour. The sugar could stay, but I'd probably add like maybe a tablespoon or two of the powdered sugar, and just like a teaspoon, a little dab of butter extra, because the mixture is good. And it didn't really cover everything. I mean, I don't like any thin spots to show, but I've been working on it for 10 minutes. That's enough. All right, so this gets chilled for 20 minutes. Okay, so now I'm gonna make the lemon curd. This is a lemon filling. Four lemons. But you know what? I also want to make the candied lemon. I'm gonna do even that first, because that really needs to sit. Okay, so for the candied lemons, it doesn't say how many. So I'm gonna use 2 lemons. And you want to slice them thinly. I'm not going to mess with that. I have enough lemons, so I'm not going to worry right now. Don't really even know how many to make. I guess like if you're going to put them on a individual serving, you can do 1 per serving. Sure, why not? But I definitely want nice looking ones. I think that's enough. All right. Okay, so I'm going to take a quarter cup of this lavender honey that we made. So I made 3 cups, so I'm just going to use about 1/3 of it. Oh, what a wonderful mess. Okay, and a quarter cup of water. All right, I'm going to take this to the stove. I'm going to let it all melt, come together, and then I'm going to put these into the pan. Okay, so it's been 5 minutes. It's got a really good boil going to it, and I'm just going to flip everyone over and let it cook for another 5 minutes. Did I get them all? I gotta go check. All right, so 5 more minutes till the next step. Okay, so these cooked on this side for 5 minutes. I turned off the heat. I'm gonna set it aside for 10 minutes. This should have been done last night. Actually, each part could have been done the day ahead of time and just assembled it. So I'm gonna let this sit for 10 minutes, put them on the baking sheet, and bake them. Okay, on to the lemon curd. I'm going to zest the 4 lemons. I need, how much? 2 teaspoons of zest and 3/4 cup of juice. I don't know if I'll get, well, these are pretty soft, so maybe. So let me go ahead and get these zested. Okay, in my pot over a medium heat, I'm going to whisk 4 eggs and 3/4 cup of sugar. This looks like a semi-basic lemon curd. Lemon curd, there's no such thing as a bad lemon curd in my opinion. So once it's all nice and combined, I'm going to add the lemon juice and the lemon zest. And this gets cooked. Okay, I had to check. 6 to 8 minutes until it thickens up. And it will. Right, so I'll be back. I am just making a mess. I'll be back when we get to the thicker spot. Okay, so that cooked nicely. You can see how it coats it really well. Now we're going to add the butter. And this is just room temperature butter, and it's gonna dissolve real quick. And then we're going to add the gelatin. I've never added gelatin as the last, so late in the game, but it's not my recipe. So I'm going to spread it across over everything to make it even. Let it sit just a minute. Okay, mix it in. All right, so I'm going to let this sit for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to run it through a sieve because I want it really silky. Okay. All right, I'm going to just run this through the sieve. Off camera, I took my chilled crust, pricked the bottom of it with a fork a few times, and put it in the oven at 350 for about 15 minutes. I'm going to double check that. But, so that's cooling off right now. You want to put this into a cooled crust. So, yeah, maybe 10 more minutes of it being cold. The reason I do this is just to give me a silkier curd. The lemon zest. Okay, but why do you put it in if you're going to take it out? Well, lemon zest has all the oils, and the oils has such great flavor. That's why. But I don't want to have to take a bite and then try to get rid of just that tiniest little bit. You know when you're eating something and you're trying to delicately take something out of your mouth that you don't want to finish? That. Okay, this is done. Okay, so the lemon tart's cold. It's a good smell. It reminds me of the hot water pastry I made, a depression pastry. I smell that. There's room to put flavor in here, just so you know. It's an option. It did shrink a little bit more than I would have liked. I think next time I make it, and I will make this again, at least this crust. I'm gonna make it a bigger recipe, and just really make it higher since it shrinks, and it would because it has a lot of butter. So we're gonna finish this up. Okay, so I'm gonna fill it with the curd, and I gotta say this curd is pretty tasty. It's a little thinner than I would like, but it hasn't set up, Maria, so just knock it off. But I do like the curd. I think you will too. So I'm gonna just make sure it's all nice and even. And like with any lemon curd dessert, it needs to sit. And this, Oh my goodness. I'm going to cover this and I'm going to let it sit for 6 hours. You want the plastic to be right on top of the curd so that it doesn't give you a film, which is not good. All right. So now this gets chilled. Okay, so these are the candied lemons. They're very tacky, but they're going to be put right on top. So it's just for decorations, although you can eat them. I haven't tasted it, so I think I'm going to have to later on, but because I don't want to tell you if it's good, if it's not good. So I'm going to make some chantilly cream. Now, chantilly cream isn't something that we've used a lot on this show. Called chantilly cream. What's the difference between whipped cream and chantilly cream? Nothing. Nothing. I have been searching on this topic for years, unless I've just missed the great big boat. But chantilly cream is sweet whipped cream. Some say it's better to do it with powdered sugar than regular sugar. I'm telling you, they stick a fancy name on something to intimidate you, when in the end, it's just sugar and whipped cream. Why do they do it? I don't know. It's a little silly if you ask me. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to do it by hand just because I want to. I'm not going to use a whole lot on the tart. I'm just going to kind of like dollop it. Now, to me, a chantilly cream is sweetened whipped cream that is not at peaks yet. It's still really soft and not runny, but stick with me. I'll show you my version of chantilly cream. Another trick I want to show you is not a trick. It's just like, obviously, okay. So this is new. I just opened it up, and it sits in my refrigerator until I'm ready to use it. So I keep my refrigerator stocked with every cream. So before I open it, I crack it open to break the seal and put a little air in there. Then I shake the sugar. I just shake it because I want all the solids on the bottom, like a rumba class. And then I'm ready to use it. You can absolutely 5,000% do this in a stand mixer or a hand mixer, whatever you want to do. I'm just kind of feeling the need to really touch base with my food. So I got about a cup and a half-ish. And I am going to do the powdered sugar because usually when I make, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry. It just doesn't matter. So how much? Let's say, it looks like a lot, but it's a real little spoon. So I'm going to do one more. No, I'm not. Okay. I'll stop. All right. And then this is just a matter of whisking until I get my stuff. I'm not going to make you watch this. I'm sorry, but that's not a joke. I forgot how much energy this took. So this is my interpretation of chantilly cream. It's just a very soft peak. So it plops well. Ooh, and it splatters well. So when you get it and you just plop it onto your dessert, it's going to give you a nice little ball. Not a ball, just a plop. That's chantilly cream to me. Okay, this is nice and firm. I could probably let it set longer. I put it in the refrigerator for an hour, and then I put it in the freezer for about half an hour. And if it doesn't hold its shape when I slice it, that's all on me. I'm not gonna blame the recipe for it. I just being impatient. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just plop it on. I think I'm gonna just do like, I don't know. I don't know what, I'm not really even looking for a design, just chantilly cream. I tell you, sometimes I think people just look to impress without reason, you know? It's like, just say sweet whipped cream. Okay, and I do want a lot on there. I definitely want that to help. That lemon curd, it's tart. Mine's a little bit sweeter, so if you like a tartar lemon curd, you're gonna love this. Okay, now this would hold up if you wanted to use, you know, a piping bag and star tips. It would do what you need it to do. Okay, and the lemon slices. So I'll be presenting it this way when I do present it. Well, you can't see everything. Oh, hello. So I'm just gonna pile them on. Kind of bury it in so it stands up a bit. They are tacky, so keep that in mind. I kind of like the caramelization, the brown color. I think that looks really pretty. Let's see if I can do this. That way they're kind of standing up. All right, let me finish this up and I'll show you. Okay, so that really looks pretty. And you gotta love these Tart pans, I tell you. Come on, Maria, be careful, please. I have the bottom of the pan underneath it. I'm just gonna leave it here for now. Oh, I like that crust. Ding dong. Well, what can I say? Now, it says that to drizzle the rest of the honey, lavender honey on here, and I'm gonna do it because it said to do it. I had to thin it down a lot, so I popped it in the microwave till it was thin. But now I've got a warm honey that's gonna go right on top of the whipped cream or chantilly cream. Not sure what I think about that, but I'll be a good girl and I'll do what it said. And I know that if someone, see, they're not going to be eating it right now, so it's going to be a little tricky because this is going to get hard again. Dilemmas. Dilemmas. All right, I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to just drizzle it on. And I think that's enough. If they want more on their plate, then they certainly can. All right, let's see how this tastes. Okay, that's pretty. That's pretty. That soggy bottom, that's on me. I took it out too soon. So let yours sit overnight. All of these aspects can be done ahead of time. That's why this video for me felt so long. I felt off. Boy, destroyed my life. Okay, so the crust, I like the crust. It's super flaky, and that's kind of good. I like that. Let me dig into this chantilly cream. I get a kick out of people sometimes. Okay. That was graceful. This is good. I think that I would do this again without the lavender, because all the aspects are really good. The honey, I would have to redo the honey. I don't know what yet, but only because I know that's not going to be eaten for at least a couple of hours. So that honey is going to get hard, because when I put it aside and I use what I use, and by the time I got to this, I was able to pick up the whole cup because the honey got so hard. But it's not hard now. So I would have to think about this. The crust is really good. The chantilly cream, well, hello, that's just a winner anyways. And the lemon curd, it's a little tarter than mine. Mine's a little sweeter, but I wouldn't say no to it. It's quite good. I would give this a thumbs up. Question the lavender part of it, but I'd say good job. What was her name? Vallery Lomas. Good job, Vallery. Thanks for the recipe. Okay, my friends, until next time, happy baking.
Ah, that was fun. Don't forget to like and subscribe.